I was talking to my daughter because we stay up late. It's summertime. And during the year, of course, she has so many activities. And between her, my 11-year-old, and my 22, almost 23-year-old, is she 23? I don't know. I can't remember. Anywho, we stay up at night, and she loves to stay in her space, in her part of the house, and I like to stay in my space. And I like to keep the momentum of my stories going because I've already written a book about certain things that I want to discuss, but not now. But there's things that when you have a formula and you're trying to teach children, you don't want them to be confused on exactly what you're trying to teach them. And so if they don't know where you're coming from, and I'm coming from a place of a lot of people don't know. Um, like I said, I was in the military. I was a army brat. I was a broadcaster at one point. I worked in different job industries before I even joined the military for those 27 years. And that's just the life part of me. And then the ailment part of me, the injuries that I have are PTSD. I have post traumatic stress disorder. I have a traumatic brain injury. I'm a double neck amputee, and that means I have no neck. It's plates and screws. I was paralyzed at one point, and I had a dynamic neurosurgeon, and I say, all God, and I'm able to move again. Where I had a cousin with the same injury, and he's dead now. He became a quadriplegic from the injuries that I got. But God spared me. I had a month before I would have been a quad and a year to live, and I'm still here. And that was years ago. That was in 2008 and 2010, November 11th, on both days when my neck exploded. And I have disc degeneration. That's when your bones are deteriorating or going away. And chronic migraine syndrome. So I have massive migraines. And of course, being in the military, everybody has knee injuries. And body locks up on me quite frequently. And my doctor diagnosed I have extreme insomnia, and when my insomnia kicks in, like I stay up for like 8 days, 5 days, and then they call it a break. Now they've tagged me as a bipolar person with psychosis, and I have psychotic breaks. And you hear things and voices and this and that, and a lot of people are embarrassed to talk about being bipolar. I'm not necessarily embarrassed about that. I used to tell people they say I have bipolar disorder, but now I've kind of accepted that. I take medication for it. I have really good medical insurance. I've gone to many counselors and psychiatrists, and as I, you know, as I went through this journey, and but more than all of those things, that's just the sum of some of the things that I've go through. But more than all of that, I'm a survivor, and I'm positive. I love to wake up and be excited. I love to be at night and be at night. I'm just as excited. I feel so free and relaxed, and I think of all the things I've gone through. My pain level, they say, is at a 7, and I remember one time I was at a was it a nuclear medicine specialist or whatever, and he said, Shauna, you just have to get used to living your life at a 7. You know, a doctor once told me any forms of pain is not normal, but sometimes in your life you're dealt a hand of pain. The reason why I decided to help children is because I had kind of a tumultuous um, childhood. I had a wonderful childhood because I had really good parents, but at the same time, I think like most children, I went through things in my life where I couldn't really explain why certain things was happening to me. I'm trying to get comfortable because even though it's late, my neck starts to hurt. And I've taken my meds, but I haven't taken my sleep meds. And I have some pain meds I have to take. Sorry. But I want to be as authentic as possible. So when I'm talking, I don't want people to think that I'm talking from just a standpoint of you're trying to get listeners or viewers. No, that's not important to me. Um, I'm talking because there's something that I have to say. Um, I woke up one day, I had been in meditation, and I woke up and it was on my heart. And I always think that when you have those types of intuition, it's God. You know, I say God. Other people may say higher power, Allah, or, you know, I do a lot of research. That was one of my jobs, a researcher. Um, but I like to explore different things, and like one of my favorite plays is A Raisin in the Sun with Sidney Poitier. And I played the part, the experiment with different forms of expression. I did that as a little girl, and that's who I am. I like to experiment with different forms of expression. I like to, you know, push myself to an uncomfortable zone and see if it works. You know, if it doesn't work, hey, you know, you've tried. You've helped somebody. You've maybe had something to say that they wouldn't have thought of it in that way, or that, you know, looked at it in that kind of aspect. I think I'm a little radical, you know, hey, but I think that over the years it's made me radical. And I don't watch the news anymore. I used to watch the news like, oh my gosh, I was addicted to the news and the cycle and the different cycles of news. But I started noticing how I would be so stressed. So I stopped staying up on my current affairs and watching the news every single day. I still stay up on current affairs, and I still learn and research different things and try to stay abreast of what's going on. Like I know about BTS, you know, my daughter loves BTS, and I listen to their music when she forces me to. My 22-year-old, I think she's 22, I can't remember. She's either 22 or 23, I can't remember. Her birthday's in May. Um, she tries to keep me abreast of the latest hip hop, you know, because I grew up during the Run DMC days and stuff like that. But you know, I still like Nip, and I, I can't think of anyone besides a few people, you know, a few artists that I don't necessarily know the names, but I know their music. If I had to pick a selection of what I want to listen to, it just depends on the mood that I'm in. What I always tell people is I try to keep my kids in a place where that they are continually learning, growing, um, pushing themselves to the limit. My daughter's right now is in officers camp. She's going to be a lieutenant, and she went to HBCU, and as well as a very renowned just institution. I think they're both renowned because, and I won't say the name because she'd probably be annoyed with me, but I'm proud of her. She's an honor student. Both of my girls are honor students. I do expect greatness from them. I don't think that I'm a pushy mom, but I think that I'm very forceful in the sense of I do expect greatness. Um, we have no room for anything but that. Um, I even push myself. I could be in excruciating pain. My back could go out, my legs, and I'll still keep moving. I hate whiners, because it can always get worse. There's always someone in a worse position or predicament than you. And so to sit there and just whine and think about, oh, poor me. Don't get me wrong. I think that we all should be validated, and we all should, if we don't feel well, we just don't feel well. But I don't think that that's something that I want to just sit and talk about all the time. I'm retired, so I can play on Facebook. I know that sounds crazy, but I do. I didn't used to. I was very opposed to Facebook, but now I'm retired. I play with my friends and family, and they are just simply my friends and family. And just lighthearted stuff. And I put God first, but I don't want anyone to think that I'm this perfect person where I don't do certain things. I mean, I do swear, and I try not to do it that often, but hey, if it slips out, I don't sit there and beat myself up about stuff like that. My children aren't allowed to, my little one is not allowed to use profanity because that's just totally unacceptable behavior. I think she needs to learn how to, what I say, articulate herself in a manner in which people can understand and understand the English language as well as other languages. I push my kids. I believe in the STEM program. Um, and those are little things that I think that should be known about me before I continue the process of just talking and telling these stories that people are saying, where is she coming from with this? Um, like I said, I came from a two-parent home. My parents never argued. My mother was a missionary. My dad was a military sergeant first class. That's when that meant something. And I never heard them argue. Now me, I do argue, and I can go for it. But I give people what they give me. I try to stay on a even keel when it comes to that kind of thing. Woosad and meditate and just be more relaxed. My tone is usually monotoned. I can get ecstatic or excited, and my inflection go up and down, but I think I'm a pretty funny person when I want to be. I used to be a comic when I was younger. Like I was take a room with my family, not a real comic, but I mean when I go to a function, I was the one making everyone laugh. But then I realized as I got older that was my pain showing, and I wanted to work through my pain instead of making people laugh at the pain. It wasn't funny to me really, and everything I would say would be true, and people would think it would be so hilarious, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm so not joking." But yeah, so that part of me has pretty much dissolved. Um, I have a big heart when it comes to children. I've seen a lot of death. I've seen a lot of children, try to commit suicide. A lot of kids committing suicide. Children that I used to mentor dying from gang violence, and it's always the kids. I remember one of my young kids that I used to mentor, he had said a few weeks before his passing, he said, the bullets that they always shoot never have a name. A few weeks later, they killed him. And so, I mean, when you go through that level of pain, and I've lost my parents and all of my grandparents, which I had 8 grandparents and lost them all by the time I was in my teens, except for one, and excuse me, 2. And so it takes a little bit from your heart. Yet you still try to stay, positive. You try to stay that person that is inspiring instead of, how would I say it? I try to stay inspiring. I try to inspire my girls, teach them good values. Um, I like nice things, but I'm not overly obsessed with nice things. I like being comfortable, but I still believe in sharing. I don't want to have, I used to say I can be in Budapest and be okay. Well, after living a life of being in Budapest a couple times and a couple, 3 times, I don't want to live that life anymore. I found that being impoverished, it was not all it was meant to be. Even though I have been in a situation and seen people in situations where they had very little and was very happy. Um, I try not to be judgmental, but I find myself sometimes being judgmental. And I have all the natural and human responses of anybody. When people say, "Who's your favorite actor?" I always tell people, oh, of course, it's Denzel Washington. I've loved him my entire life because I just like the product that he puts out. He reminds me of my dad a lot, um, in his mannerisms and behaviors and his confidence that he exudes on the screen. Um, I don't get excited over celebrities too often. Um, People doing things that are, just a little bit, I don't know, people doing things that they should not be able to do excites me more than a celebrity. Um, I learned a long time ago that humans are just humans. Um, One of my favorite proverbs is when they say the king sometimes will walk and the peasant will ride. And I find that's a lot of times in this country. And so I don't get too overstrung or high strung over, people and their things because they're just things. Like Denzel Washington said, I never seen a hearse with a U-Haul being dragged with it. Um, and that's so true, you know. I believe in working hard. I believe in capitalism in the sense of I believe people should have an opportunity to step up and move up and progress in this world. But I know that it is difficult for some people. It's been difficult for me. Um, it took a while to even get to the place where that I'm now, and even now I wouldn't say that I'm comfortable, but that's how I would say I'm comfortable. Um, they have this little saying that we eat, you know. So you have to be blessed to say that we eating because there's a lot of people that are hungry tonight and thirsty tonight. I try not to waste. Um, I'm that person that can eat. I love good food because I've been in a situation where I didn't have food, and I love nice meals and healthy meals. But at the same time, if I had to, I could eat just to soothe the savage beast of hunger. And that's the intro of who I am. That's the basis of who I am. Whenever I get off, I always think of 50 million other things I could have said and maybe more exciting, but maybe I'm not that exciting of a person. Maybe I am. I'm not the person on Facebook that look for likes. 2, 3 likes for me is like, oh my God, I got 3 likes. It's just amazing, because they're family and they are truly friends. I don't I was talking to my cousin today, and she goes, "I don't know all them people that's on my Facebook," and I'm like, "No, I know everybody on my Facebook. And she was like, "You do?" And I'm like, "Yeah. I mean, I know everybody, them personally, and there's hundreds of people that I know personally, but they're not on my Facebook. Um, I think I'm a pretty private person. I sit alone a lot. I like to do a lot of reflection, and I like to analyze a lot of different things and then explore, how to make it better, or did I make it worse? And I don't try to be something that I'm not. I'm comfortable in my skin. It took time for me to get here. Um, I like playing in makeup like all girls, daydreaming. And you know, that's life. That's my life. That's who I am. I wake up every day and I thank God that I'm here. And that if I have a good day, I thank Him extra because I know that they're not all that way. And I don't sit up and go, what hurts me? I work through that part of my life. It's probably something hurting me right now. I just don't pay attention. And that's who Shauna is. That's not Masking a Paradigm. That's not MAP. That's Shauna. That's who I am. I love my family. I love my siblings. I love my parents. I can't wait to reunite with them in that one sweet day. Not tomorrow. I don't want to do it tomorrow, but I still think of them every day. I think of my grandparents every day. Um, I think of the little girl that I lost every day. And likewise, I think of the people that are here. And I try to let them know that I love them and care for them. So, that was a mini episode without commercials. And I guess I'll end it right there because, hey, if you start running out of things to say, you need to shut up or be quiet, like I make my daughter say. And I hope from here we can go to the next step. It's formulas to life, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the correct thing and being open and transparent with who I am. As transparent as possible. Some things I'm just not prepared to talk about at this point in my life and juncture in my life. But some things I'm very open with and open-minded. And I want to be mindful of other people's lives and other people, how it can impact and affect them. And we'll see how far that goes. My last thing is I do believe in global love, not just American love. I believe in global love. I'm a little radical when it comes to that, and I do believe that I love being a woman. I know that we're not taking as seriously as we should be, but I think that if we continue the process where there are serious women talking of serious issues, that dynamic can change as well. And so we're going to always remain hopeful on that. Just like there's bad people, there's good people. And I love to say that just because something happens to you that could be misfortunate or can set you back away, don't ever think that you can't come back up from that. That's my daughter in the background, still talking to her friends. And I'm going to end there in a good space. And I hope you're in a good space. God bless now.